It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About a Tuesday Church Folk Day. And oh my, I had with me Pastor KL and Pastor Vinny. And oh, that was some kind of conversation. We started talking about toilet paper going extinct and what our alternatives would be. And if you've been listening to this show, when we got to Pastor KL giving his 2 cents, I was so scared. And he never ceases to amaze me. Yeah. And then had Pastor Vinny jumping on board with him. You've got to go back and listen to that conversation. Oh, you have got to go back and listen to that conversation, because I could not stop laughing enough to even tell them to just stop the conversation. And oh boy, where was Pastor Brenda yesterday to rescue me? Oh, we got to talking about the exotic dancer who was suing for racial discrimination because the strip club owner told her when she applied that he already had enough black women already dancing on the pole who were working there. Listen, I don't know. God is just some kind of God. Sometimes he's got to find a way to just shut us down, whether we like it or not. And that must have been a hard blow. But here's the thing. She continued to get the same results everywhere she went, which is why I said, along with Shanti's opinion, that maybe that was just God shutting her down, because, who keeps getting turned down? I mean, unless you just looking that kind of bad and they just think you bad for business. But I'm going to go a little further than that. And I do believe that it was just maybe God just shutting it down, Well, we had a church folk question from Pastor Vinny, and he asked, why do church folk always come late to church? Now, as a 7-day observer, we are in church all day long. So if somebody comes to church, that's one. Church late, that's one thing. But Pastor Vinny said they only in there for 2 hours. Well, how you come late to a 2-hour service? Because no matter what time you show up, you've missed something. So, boy, that was an interesting conversation. But where it ended up going was even more interesting. Yeah, we got to talking about just how you treat God, period, which goes back to the exotic dancer. She was actually going to court, and when they turned it down, she took it to the Supreme Court and still ended up getting shut down. And that begs to question, do we stand before God asking him to render us justice, and then when it comes time for us to do our part, such as get to church on time when it's only 2 hours, we fail him? That was a big question yesterday. And the conversation that ensued and all the points that were brought out was amazing. It really, really was amazing. I mean, a lot of practical, analogies, and you couldn't get out of that thing. Yeah, if you are failing God, you had to hear that it was you yesterday, because by the time the three of us got finished talking, you had to know it was you. The Spirit of the Lord had to tap on your door and say, excuse me, they talking about you the church folk today. Because we really ask God for a lot. And then when the tables are turned and we read God's expectation in his word, we all twisted. We can't do what he requires of us, no matter how much he's done for us. So, you know what? Go back and listen. Get that poke, that alarm, that siren, that bleeping, whatever it is you need to get, so that you can be convicted, to consider if it's you. And listen, that's all we were doing. It's just giving you the word so that you can see if you're standing up to the test. All right. Well, that's how we spent out. Let's talk about a Tuesday. Today is Wow Wednesday, everybody. And we have made it by the grace of God to the middle of the week. Well, how are we going to show him our gratitude? That's my question for this morning. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to constantly fail him and, get any old excuse to not do the little bit that he asks of us? I don't know. It's the middle of the week and the ladies are doing the talking today. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody that It's Stew Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
The first black woman lawyer in the United States. She graduated with honors from Howard Law School in the 1800s, opened her own practice in Washington, D.C. Her name was Charlotte E. Ray. She became a lawyer in 1872 before a woman could even vote. To get into law school, she used only her initials, so they wouldn't even know that she was a woman. She didn't just break the rules, she broke the mold. But when she opened her law firm, people refused to hire her. Not because she wasn't smart, not because she couldn't win, because she was a black woman. They ignored her brilliance. They shut the door in her face. Still, she fought. She became a voice for civil rights, a teacher, a leader. She dared to stand tall when the world tried to shrink her. But history left her behind. No statues, no textbooks, just silence. She gave up her practice, but not her power. She spent her life lifting others, and now we lift her. Charlotte E. Ray made the impossible possible. She walked so black women lawyers today could run. Say her name, share her fire, let her be known.
Good morning, and a good morning again. Welcome back to It's Stew Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. Shout out to the family of Charlotte E. Ray. Yo, did you hear the stuff that he was saying about her? Standing up, actually taking a stand for who she was and not letting anybody back her down. And when he said that, I said to myself, is that us? Are we standing up for God and we're not letting anyone back us down? We're not letting anyone push us over in a corner. We're not compromising to try to keep friends or make friends or keep a man or a woman. Yo, just what she did, in that vein. Again, pushes us and forces us to think about this thing. All right. So blessings to her family. I'm sure they're proud of her. And make sure you do the same thing for the Lord. Okay? All right. Well, listen, I need to know who's in the room, but the only way I know you're in the room is if you check in. So please make sure you just give Pastor Steph a holler and let her know that you're out there. We're going to say good morning to our boy Terrence. Hey, Terrence, how are you? Oh, thank God that you are in the room. We're going to say good morning to our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to say good morning to our lady, Tamika. Well, good morning, Lady Tamika. Now, she can't be on with us today for me to chat with her. So we're going to give her a shout out from the other end of the lens. And make sure you keep that chat room live, girl. Make sure you keep that chat room live. We want to hear from you. All right. Well, we got to make sure we say good morning to the ladies that hold it down and keep us live on Facebook and live on YouTube. Good morning, Shatice. Good morning. Thank you so much. Look forward to chatting with you in a minute. And where's our girl, Anika? Let's say good morning to her. Good morning. Thank you so much for saying good morning to us and making sure we are up and running. Okay. Well, you know it's Wednesday morning, and what do we do every Wednesday morning? We get our socially conscious segment from our girlfriend Vivian. Good morning, Vivian.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thank you. Good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, good, good. You know what I always like to ask you, what you got for us today?
All right, today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with an update on these defaulted student loans. There's some possibly temporary good news for borrowers. If you're defaulted on federal student loans, as you know, they have started garnishing checks in order to receive that money back. And if you receive Social Security benefits, there was some mention that even that may have been garnished. Well, reports are saying your Social Security benefits are safe from garnishments for now. They say about 452,000 borrowers aged 62 plus are in this boat where they have defaulted student loan debt, but the department is hitting a pause on any future offsets. The Trump administration is actually trying to help them and the other 5.3 million folks in default as well, but those discussions are still in process. So as of right now, it's just paused. Their Social Security benefits will not be touched until a agreement has come. The Education Department confirmed that collections resumed last month, as we know, and although there were some talks of everyone being garnished, they are reporting that no Social Security benefits have been touched since the start of the recollection. So it's temporary, but it's still some good news for right now. The executive director of the Student Borrower Protection says simply pausing this collection tactic is woefully insufficient. Any continued effort to restart the government's debt collection machine is cruel, unnecessary, and will further fan the flames of economic chaos for working families across the country. So he, like many, say, yeah, great, you paused it, but let's make sure that it doesn't happen in general. Next, we have another update. I believe we spoke about the plans for getting rid of the rat problem that is going on all over New York City. We spoke about the boroughs who they said had the worst rat infestation. Well, now they are reporting that New York City is one step closer to victory in its war on rats. They say citywide rat sightings are down 18.4% this year compared to the same time period in 2024. They say 311 complaints is the source of this data. According to the people, complaints of rat-friendly conditions and other signs of rodents are also down citywide. New York City is one step closer to victory in its war on rats. They're saying city rat sightings are down 8.6% in Staten Island, 14.4% in the Bronx, 0.4% in Manhattan. They are the only borough who pretty much stayed the same, while other boroughs saw a more significant decrease in their rat population, or at least in the sightings of rats. So some good news. They're attributing this to the mandated garbage cans with the locks and lids and all those mandates that they're putting out when buildings can put their garbage out, making sure that the bags are not put out without being in cans. They're citing all of this as their reasoning for success in getting these rat sightings down. Next we have a video for our next story. So what we just saw is a classic case of MTA agent caught on camera accepting cash and swiping people onto the subway, which we know is completely illegal. So while the MTA is focusing on cracking down on fare evasion, they're going through all these different tools and spending all this money on making sure that they are decreasing the amount of money they are losing because of fare evaders. They are rolling out different things such as investing in behavioral studies to understand what makes people evade fares. They have spent up to $1 million on behavioral studies alone. They are boosting security, armed and unarmed guards. They are putting up different guardrails so that people can't just hop the turnstiles. All of this has cost MTA over $35 million, or is estimated to cost them over $35 million by the end of the year. And now we see this guy and other people like him who are employees of MTA and are helping to undo everything that MTA is doing. But now we have our wow story of the week, which is another video that we're going to watch and discuss.
Meek Mills, Lil Wayne, Young Boy, Donald Trump. I'm a good person. I am a father that want to be in my children's life. They say that I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out. I'm about to show you how the system is corrupted. Okay, she did this, right? Saying all allegations against me is false. And she even saying that's why I left the jail. And they have a lot more brothers that's innocent, just like me. My name is Antoine Massey, asking for help from the world, from Meat Mills, Lil Wayne, Young Boy, Donald Trump. I'm asking, I'm a good person. I am a father that want to be in my children's life. They say that I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out. I'm about to show you how the system is corrupted. Okay, she did this, right? Saying all allegations against me is false. And she even saying that's why I left the jail. And they have a lot more brothers that's innocent, just like me.
So what we just saw is clips of Antoine Massey. He is one of the 10 people who escaped from the New Orleans prison back in May 16th. He has taken to Instagram to plead his case. As you heard, he's saying that he did not break out of jail. He was let out of jail. He's claiming his innocence, and he is asking the people for help and proving his innocence and keeping him out of jail. In this video, Massey disputes reports that he threatened a jail maintenance worker to facilitate the escape. He said, "How could I have threatened to shank you when you're not allowed to come close to me without guards?" He claims that the domestic abuse battery charge that kept him in jail was based on a false report from a jealous girlfriend. Massey shows paperwork that he says proves that the young lady was jumped by peers and not by him. He was seen pleading for help to prove his innocence and stay out of jail ultimately. And again, he used Instagram in order to do so. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories that you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
What next? That's all I gotta say. Stop bringing this girl. Oh my goodness. Woo! You make sure you hurry up and get on the road so we can get to talking. Cause man, we got stuff to talk about. Woo, yes. Thank you so much, Vivian. And you never cease to amaze us. Girl, hurry up. We gonna keep the chatter going until you get back. Woo! Man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get this conversation going. Woo! All right, well, as we wait for Vivian, we have started a new little in-between segment, and I get another story and we just get to chatting about it. We got some comments up in the chat room. Terrence says $1 million on nothing, and he's talking about the on the MTA. And Terrence says, we're glad V is back. Well, where did V go, Terrence? Did I miss something? Vivian, did she go somewhere? I just don't remember it, because Terrence clearly does. All right, but nonetheless, Vivian, Terrence says he's glad you're back. All right. Good morning, Serge. Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. And Tamika says technology gets us every time. And I'm sure she's talking about the MTA worker being caught stealing on camera. All righty. Well, on the interim, we've got a Florida Checkers employee who has been charged with murder over dispute of some mayo. Vivian ain't the only one with some wild stories. So the story goes, out in Kissimmee, Florida, a late night stop to Checkers turned crazy out of nowhere, and a man is dead and another person is facing life, probably, over a dispute of some mayonnaise. So here's what they say. About a little after 10 one night, there was a person who stopped to get some food from Checkers, and his name was Elijah Mackey. No, I got the names mixed up. Wesley Robertson was a customer, and Elijah Mackey was the 23-year-old employee from Checkers. And somehow or another, some mayonnaise packets were not distributed properly. Now, we don't know if, he probably was supposed, according to the customer, he should have gotten 3 packets. He only got 2 packets. I don't know. But clearly there was some mayonnaise dispute. And that's probably what happened, because that has happened before. I don't know if you remember, I believe it was either last year or the year before, we did a very similar story about this. And it was some ketchup the last time. And I don't know, it was another fast food restaurant. Somebody went through the drive-through and they got to arguing. Well, this time, this is Checkers, and they say surveillance video shows Mackey climbing out of the drive-through window, approaching him at the front of the restaurant, a verbal exchange going on between the two men, and somebody made a derogatory remark, and they think it was Robertson made a derogatory remark towards Mackey. And that's when the employee pulled out a gun from his waistband and shot the customer in his chest. Now, they say when he was shot in the chest, Mr. Robertson collapsed and hit his head on the restaurant wall. So kind of like a dual thing went on here. And Mackey, the employee, fled on foot, but needless to say, later on, he was found. Where you going if you only got a Checkers job? Well, listen, this other Antoine guy, he's still on the lam, and I can't ask these questions anymore, y'all, because clearly, they find a way. Well, when they caught him, he did tell the cops, I have a gun on me. And he did ask, was, Mr. Robertson okay? And I guess they told him no, because he was dead. So he's been charged with first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm. Oh, where my girls at? Where's Shantice? Let's talk about this quick before Vivian gets on the road so we can get our chat going. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Pastor Steph. How are you?
I am well, thank you. I'm well. How are you feeling? You've been down for the last couple days.
Yes, the cough isn't as abrupt up front, but I'm feeling a little better. Amen.
All right. Well, thank you so much for pushing your way through and joining us. We're missing our lady Tamika today in front of the camera. Yeah. So we're happy that you're able to join us. So what's going on? You didn't work in fast food, but you did work in the dining industry. And why are we killing people over mayonnaise? Because that's exactly what it boils down to be. Well, what's going on?
I don't know. The dining was a lot safer because it's fast food in the dining. You know, if they wanted an extra boat of dressing or, you know, an extra ramekin of ketchup, you know, you just go get it and you bring it back to the table. Here, I'm already strapped in case you ask for an extra packet of mayonnaise, or whatever. Now I'm ready to shoot you. It's like, why were you already on guard for this? Like the shift yesterday, you was like, you know what? Tomorrow, if one more customer asks me, they know we only allowed to give 2 packets. We don't care how many burgers they order. We only allowed to give 2 packets of ketchup. I don't care how many orders of fries they order. If one more customer asks me, it's over for them. Like, why was it already on you? And now we need metal detectors when you walk in the back to go flip the burgers and do whatever else. He was already on edge about life. That's what that was. It wasn't about no mayonnaise.
Well, you know, it does say that the customer made a derogatory, quote unquote, a derogatory remark about the employee. And you know how we do, you know, all you do is work for Checkers, or you think you this, or you think you all that because you working for Checkers. You ain't doing nothing but working for Checkers. That derogatory remark cost you your life.
Because you were already on edge. So you already mad that you only working at Checkers. So now when someone points it out to you again and says it out loud, you already saying it in your head. Now you heard it out loud. Now it's like, wait, that's right. I am only at Checkers. Well, let me show you what else I could do besides take your order and hand you your food and take your money. You will, because I have said that. I have said that even up till recently. So maybe now I got to change that because now people come to work strapped. I have said at the drive-through because, and I know you upset about life, especially you a certain age and you still work in the window at McDonald's or wherever, and I pull up and you already got an attitude. Well, if you already got an attitude, I ain't ordering with you. But by the time I get to the window, now you got an attitude. And there have been times I'm like, switch careers. That'll help you and every other potential customer that comes up here. They're already upset about their circumstances. So now that I know that they come in strapped because they just wait for someone else to point out their career choice, I think I just need to cook more at home because it's not fair to the customer for them to pull up on you with an attitude. And now, God forbid, they need an extra napkin or a straw. Pastor, have you ever been to where you've ordered drinks and you don't get straws? And then you ask for a straw and they act like you just asked for their social security number. You like, bro, you just gave me drinks, bro. Like, what am I supposed to take the top off and drink? I'm in a car.
Oh,
drink nothing until I get to my house. That's what you're telling me? Okay, no problem. It's like we're not asking for anything that we're not supposed to already be getting. We didn't say, okay, you know what? Since you out of fries, let me get some shrimp. You know, that's the type of stuff you get in a dine-in restaurant. Those are the type of requests you get. That's what makes us go postal in the dine-ins. But that's just crazy. That's like, come on.
I don't know, Shantice. You know, this, like you said, you better keep your mouth closed because you don't know who's walking around with a chip on their shoulder. I'm going to read some of these comments while we get Pastor Kim on the line. Yes, we got Pastor Kim on with us today. Terrence says, over mayonnaise. That's the worst I ever heard in my life. Someone got killed over mayonnaise. Don't even deserve to ever see the light again. When people have a gun, they think they are untouchable. Wait, why have a gun at work? Yes, because like Shanti said, you already walk around with a chip on your shoulder. Pastor Kim, good morning.
Ooh, we got Pastor Kim.
How's everybody?
I am so excited to have you on with us again. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you all doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. Pastor Kim, before we get Vivian on and talk about this socially conscious segment, we're talking about this employee over at Checkers. who got mad because the customer was clearly upset that they didn't get enough mayonnaise packets, and they got into some verbal altercation, and now the customer is dead because now I got to shoot you in the chest in order to get my satisfaction. What we talking about here today?
I mean, that is insane. I mean, first of all, I mean, we're talking about some mayonnaise, a condiment that, I mean, it's just like if you're at McDonald's or at a restaurant and you tell them, I need another package of ketchup, like some restaurants, their policy is the customer is always right. So, you know, I know it might not have been Burger King where you could have it your way, but my goodness, I don't think it should have to escalate to that, to a person's life,
Yeah.
over something, so simple. And y'all know what I'm gonna always say. We at our last and evil days, y'all,
Yes,
So,
yes.
how
Yes.
crazy is that? But I agree with Shanti that people are so in distress. People are angry, they're overworked and underpaid. You know, and so it's like people just walking around like walking time bombs, waiting to
Yep.
explode. You could just say
Absolutely.
anything and they're ready to pop off.
Yep.
So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and
And
I agree.
that's right.
It's good to just cook you some food at home, because
That's right.
you never know what you're
That's
getting at
right.
these fast food
That's
restaurants
right.
anyway.
Anyway, that's right. That's right, Pastor Kim. So I'm already risking my health, and then I can't ask for another pack of duck sauce. I mean, we just
Right.
all out of control. We are
Out of
straight out of
control.
control. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, it is so great having you on again. Kenny says, hey, Pastor Kim, we miss you.
I
So you
miss
got
you
a
all
shout out.
too.
Mm-mm-mm. And
So
Terry
excited.
says, thank you. Terry says, laugh out loud. Not Burger King, having it our way. Yes. Oh my goodness. So where's our girl Vivian so we can continue our conversation about this socially conscious. Hey Viv.
Hey, hi, Pastor Kim.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
All righty. So we've got our socially conscious segment where we're starting with the updates on student loans. Now, like Vivian said a few weeks ago, we learned that if you have defaulted on your student loan, they were going to not just resume collection, but they were going to start garnishing them checks. And they were not playing. Well, I had no idea that they had intention on touching Social Security checks. Well, they have put a quote unquote freeze on garnishing the Social Security checks. And they say 452,000 people ages 62 and older are owing loans. I don't know if they've been owing loans from the government that they are now in collections, and they are doing them a favor. They say they're gonna put that on pause right now. Shantice, should that be something that they consider putting it on pause for the 62 aboves?
The 62 and the 62-year-old people and above.
Yes.
To now garnish. I mean, what are they? Aren't they retired by that time? By the time you're 62, or is it 65?
Well, most people. Well, some people are. Some people are at 62.
Okay, so they already had their season as to where Biden pardoned a lot of student loans if you fit into a certain criteria. So now you talk about 62-year-olds and up. Leave them people alone. They ain't going back to school to incur more fees. Whatever Social Security check they're getting, pension they're getting, let them live, you know what I'm saying, on that. Listen, y'all have been proven over and over that y'all got money. So stop. All right. whatever you gonna go and get these people for, because when they garnish your check, they are still limited as to how much they can take, right? They can't take everything. Right. Okay, right. So if you owe a whole lot, but your pension or your social security isn't, you're not really getting that much, how long is it gonna take for them to get all that money back from you if they're just taking bits at a time? Leave the people alone. They're up in age, they done worked, let them fit make a new criteria where they fit. Say, you pass this age, we're not gonna, come for you for this long, we're gonna pardon it, and let that be that. Go, towards the younger people who most likely are still working or who can still work to pay that.
Okay. Pastor Kim, Shanti says, leave them alone. You're talking 452,000 people who are 62 and above who are they willing to let 452,000 people go?
I mean, you figure if they haven't paid in all of this time, why come for them now? You wait until they become senior citizens when they're on a fixed income. You figure that once people have worked all of their life, and now they're finally getting back some of what is due to them, because it's not really like Social Security or pension is being given to you. This is money that you worked for. This is your hard-earned money that you have built up over the years to be able to have something to live halfway comfortably, once you get to retirement age. I'm there, so I get it, and you want to be able to take what you do have and be able to just live, live out, because you, at this point, you have more years behind you than ahead of you. So yeah, leave the seniors alone. If you didn't get it when then, don't worry about trying to get it now. Yeah, I think that's unnecessary.
Okay. All right. Viv, what's your take? Should they, go, listen, you incurred the debt, you need to pay it, or just go ahead and leave them alone? They're 62 and older.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Is she frozen?
I think she keeps freezing off and on.
We think Vivian's having some technical difficulties with her thing here. All righty. Well, Shanti's reset Vivian.
Yes.
And we'll come back. I'll give my feedback on it. In the interim, we've got Anika who says, hey, Pastor Kim. Hey. And we've got Pastor Kale checking in, and he's saying, great to see you, Pastor Kim. So we miss you, girl. We miss you.
I miss you guys too. This is so cool to be able to see you guys. I love this. You have upgraded, Pastor Steph.
Yes, we God has called for the upgrade, so we just move and go with the flow.
I love it.
Flow. Thank you. Let's see if Vivian we can grab her back now.
She's not back on yet. Oh, yes. 1 second.
Yes, she is. Okay. Viv, can you hear us?
Yes, you hear me?
We can hear you. Okay. So what's your take? Should they have to pay this bill, or should we leave them alone?
With all due respect, they should have to pay that bill. They need to pay that money. Okay. 450,000 people owe however much on student loans. That's a lot of money to lose on. And I was talking to a friend of mine a while ago about student loans, and I was like, I was paying the minimum, and then I realized that my student loans was not moving. It was stuck at the same amount, so I started paying more. She was like, yeah, I'll just keep on paying that minimum until I die. You got 450,000 people defaulted on their student loans because you are able to pay it, and you just gonna keep on paying that minimum and not doing what you need to do to really get rid of it. So no, make them pay that money back.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. I want to explain something to all of you in case you don't know. If you are getting Social Security and it's for a disability, because you can get Social Security retirement and after 60 something years of age, and you can get Social Security at a younger age if you're disabled. If you're disabled, like Pastor Kim said, you actually are getting your own money. So you've worked for that. What they have allowed, if there is a federal loan for school that has been taken out, if you have not worked in 3 consecutive years, they will forgive the loan. So each year you have to let them know there has been no earned income, because as a disabled person on Social Security, they will allow you to work. There is some allowance for you to actually work. So if you can prove year after year for a total of 3 years that there is no earned income, which means that the disability that I actually have, I cannot work on this disability, they will forgive the loan. So that's one thing. You don't have to ever pay that loan back. However, you could never get another loan. So you can't go back and say, okay, well, I want to further my education. I know. No, you're done. You're done getting any federal loans. Now, who else may give you a loan? That's on them. But the federal government will now give you another loan. Now, in this instance, because it is a fixed income and it does not increase, and most people who get disability or who have retired cannot work. If they have paid these loans up until the time of retirement or disability, I say leave them alone. I really talk about the people who have retired because they've aged out. They've worked 30, 40, 50 years. Leave these people alone. Yes. Let me tell you something. I'm looking at an entire government who just got finished taking care of how many immigrants for absolutely free. They were able to come over here on a boat illegally, climbing through the barbed wire, coming in a trash can, in a trunk, however they could get here. They got here and they were able to receive Medicaid and we couldn't. They were able to receive food stamp benefits and we couldn't. Children were not eating, but yet the immigrants were able to come over. Their children were able to get health insurance, and our people were still paying for their children to get health insurance, or the children were not getting health insurance. Are you really kidding me? No, leave them alone. They have worked. They have contributed this same money that these people have been living off of for absolutely free. Who paid those bills? The people who were working. So, listen, now they can't afford it. They're on a fixed income. They can't get out here and do overtime, get an extra job to increase their earning potential. If they have proven that they have worked and they can get what they worked for, then guess what? I say leave them alone. Now, maybe I would be on the side of, make them pay if the government wasn't giving out free money. But I'm sorry, you blew it by giving out the free money for Stephanie. Once you gave out the free money for Stephanie, you can't give out the free money for your citizens who have helped you pay for the people you gave free money to. Nope, that wipes you off the board. You lose your argument with me at that point. So you know what? I know it's 450,000 people. And if each of those people paid $100 back, it would be over $4 million. Guess what? You ain't gonna miss this money. Go make more. Go make more money. I'm sorry. I get the concept, but you know what? I just think the government has treated its United States citizens they have given us too much injustice. You have challenged these people. Do you realize that some elderly people can't even eat? They can't pay their rent. This is what they've earned. They're getting money that they've actually earned, and they are now in poverty. They cannot even survive. Y'all will be all right with these loans. Y'all will be all right. Go make more money and leave these people alone. All right. The rat problem is the next conversation. And we have been hearing about this rat problem for years now here in New York City. They've, as Vivian has reminded us, they've taken steps. We can't put our garbage out in loose bags before a certain time. We've had to purchase new garbage cans. We've had to do all different types of things to prevent the garbage from being out, to decrease the rat infestation. And now they claim victory. We've won. They say there has been a drop, 18.4% this year as compared to last year. 311, they've rendered fewer complaints. They say that of all the boroughs, Manhattan is the only borough that has seemed to be still the same. And hey, we should be celebrating. Pastor Kim, should we be celebrating that there's a lesser rat infestation? And should we be declaring victory?
Absolutely. I mean, who wants to live and feel like they got to be threatened by rats? I'm gonna tell you, I'm terrified of rats, mice, any rodents. I'm scared to death of them. I'm scary Mary.
A lot of people are.
But that's terrible. I mean, I couldn't imagine even having to come out of my door and even being exposed to having to see rats on a regular basis. So I would be excited to know that the problem had been resolved.
All righty. Viv, they say in Manhattan, they ain't got no rat relief, but all the other boroughs have. Should they be declaring victory now? We lost Vivian. Did we lose Vivian?
Yes, I think she may be coming right back on.
All righty. Well, in the interim, Shanti, should we be declaring victory?
We definitely should. I mean, when you think about Manhattan, not to say that every borough isn't jam-packed with people, but there are a lot more eateries out there. It's a lot busier out there. There's just a lot more out there. These are about a lot more activity, a lot more people, not only working, but living and patronizing. So you have the people who live there, then you have all of the businesses, then you have all of the people that come from all the other boroughs there. And it's not like we're bringing our garbage home. So if I buy something to eat out in Manhattan, I'm not necessarily waiting to throw it out. When I get back to Queens, I'm going to throw it out there if I'm eating there. So all of that is there. And that's actually one of the things that I look for if I stop somewhere like, I'm a little hungry, let me go get me something to eat real quick. If you got a whole lot of garbage bags in front of your establishment, you don't want my money. No, you don't. You're too busy. You're too busy having to figure out how to get rid of these bags. No, it's too much. So it's a lot going on out there. So it's no surprise that they're the ones with the problem. Thank God that they came up with the resolution for the other boroughs. And if we stick to those, us homeowners, stick to that, then the blocks will be a safer place, because that's one of the reasons why I walk in the street everywhere I go, because I don't need no surprise when I'm walking on the sidewalk, especially on garbage day.
All righty. Vivian, only one borough. Poor Vivian. She's just having so much difficulty.
It may be when she's driving.
Yeah. Let's go back. Let me go to some of the comments. We've got Serge says, "Hey, Pastor Kim, we are in our last and evil days." All righty. AJ says, "Forgive the loans and give us some money." Okay. All righty. Hey, AJ, good morning. We got Terrence who says, "I agree with both V and Pastor. I agree with V because getting that money back can kind of help our system in a way. also. Says, leave the disabled people's money alone. Well, thank you, Terrence, for splitting, down the middle and considering both sides of the fence. Thank you very much. When we talk about the rat infestation, and we're down to one borough that is still complaining about the infestation, and they said that Manhattan was the worst. So of course it's probably going to take a little longer to see results there, other than some of the other boroughs that are not experiencing the same amount of problems. Should we be declaring victory? I'm split in the middle. Let's not get lax, because what happens all the time? We start declaring victory, we start becoming lackadaisical and lax at what we're doing. And when we look up again, the rats will be gnawing at the garbage cans, because one of the complaints was that the garbage cans that they've mandated for us to purchase as homeowners, they were not as good as some of the garbage cans we were buying from Home Depot. So, you're mandating that we buy these expensive garbage cans, and they can't even take care of our problem. So I'm happy to hear that there is a decrease in our rat infestation numbers, especially with homelessness. At least we in our house. Can you imagine people who have to live on the street, who actually have to endure this rat infestation? So I am happy, but my hope is that we won't, start going to sleep on the problem. And like Shanti said, it's the summertime now. So, one of the things that helped the rat infestation increase was, remember when COVID came, they started putting outside eateries. So, where you got all that food and stuff, that's where the rats are going to go. So now that we're in the summertime and people are going to be eating outside more, let's hope that, maybe they'll hire a few more people and they'll be able to clean up, more and make sure we keep these rats at bay. All right, we got a video. Where's Vivian? I want her to be a part of this conversation. We had a video from our girl here, and we had the subway agent caught accepting cash and then swiping people through the turnstiles. Literally, they actually zoomed in and saw his hand with as a drug buy, the hand-to-hand exchange, and he's now swiping people so they could go through the turnstile. So let's see if Vivian can get back on here with us. Okay, Viv, we just crossed over the rat infestation. Let's get that comment real quick, so before we lose you.
Which one? I'm sorry.
No.
The rat infestation. We're just finishing that one. Should we be celebrating?
I don't know if I trust it. Anything coming from the mayor, I don't know if I trust it. He's been lying about the numbers for too long. I don't know if I trust it. But if it is going down, then I guess we can celebrate the small victories. And like it was said, let's not get too comfortable, because it's still a problem.
All righty. We got the subway swiper who works for MTA. Now, we have been in the subway, and you see the vagrants saying, hey, you know what? How you paying? If you give me the money, I'll swipe you. And you have your response. But now it's a subway, an MTA worker making the same appeal. Vivian, you're first at this. What say you?
It's ridiculous. And they act like they don't know where the cameras are, or that there are cameras. Now you're going to be out of a job because you wanted to collect $3 to swipe people on and using your MetroCard that is free. You risking your job for that is crazy. You didn't think you were going to get caught? It just don't make no sense. I wouldn't risk it. How much are you? How much is this side hustle really making you that you would risk your job to do this?
Woo, Shantice, what say you? You know you've seen them. You know they walk up on you. You how you paying? How you paying? If you give me $3 or $2, I'll swipe you. Just give me $2.
So I'm about to ask, how much were they paying this man again?
I guess the same $3. They only asked for the equivalent of the fare.
So what you need snack money? Because weren't they paying them like $100 for that job? Wasn't that the last report? Like
no, that was security. That was the security company. You were paid $25 an hour. If you were unarmed, then you were getting $100 an hour if you were armed.
So I thought people work for MTA because they make money. So obviously somebody lying if I'm now accepting $2 and $3 to let you in this gate. Either he don't really work there, he done stole someone's vest, or they're not really making as much as they claim they do. Because that is just like, what? You would really, even if there weren't any cameras, somehow, some way you're gonna get caught and snitched on. Because the day either you ain't there to open the door, they're gonna get mad and snitch on you, or when you decide you don't want to do this no more, or if they want you to open the door for free because they didn't give you $2 and $3 every other time, and you say no, they're gonna get mad and snitch on you. And all of this for what? For what? For $3? Because now the fare just went up to $2.90, so you're not getting more than $3. Really? Nah, I think he stole someone's vest. He couldn't be working it. Either that or they really lying about how much them workers make.
Pastor Kim. Now I know there are no train subways in Michigan, but what are we doing here?
What are we doing? That, we don't have subways, but we do have like DOT buses. We have buses. We have trains or what have you. And those are normally pretty decent paying jobs. So my take on that would be, why would you risk your decent job with benefits for a couple coins? It's not even worth it. If you feel like that you need some extra money, get you another part-time job, but don't risk your job, because even like with working like government jobs, or somebody that's working TSA or something at the airport, that like she said, these jobs have cameras. That you're going to be watched. So why even sacrifice that when you have a family and you have bills to pay? And now you're going to be out of a job. And then you got to ask yourself, was it worth it? For $3 extra, for the extra little, twos and fews that you would have got on the side, it's not worth it.
I had to pull my iPad camera up because I was like, is this what I think I'm seeing? And all I could think about, like I said before, was the guy who walks up on you when you used to go down in the train station, and he walks up on you and it's like, how you, before you pay, if you give me $2, I'll swipe you. No, you won't. We good. Thank you. And you keep on going. And I can't, how do you even know that the guy is even offering this thing here? That's the part that got me.
Because he's
really there with a uniform on, saying, like the other guy, hey, yo, dude, don't pay. If you give me your $3, I'll swipe you. Are you serious? That is the most idiotic risk I have ever seen. So idiotic. Oh my goodness. You know what? There was a movie years ago called The Year of Living Dangerously. This is where we are. This is where we are. You just an idiot. This ain't no bad judgment. This ain't no mistake. You are a full-blown idiot. I'm sorry. Y'all can talk about me if you want to. You just straight idiot mode. Who does this? Because the first thing I said to myself was, how would you even know that you standing there? Because like Shanti said, we just got finished doing this a few weeks ago, where the guy, the security was seen opening up the gate and letting the people walk in for free, and they were ragging them for that. It's like, yo, we're paying you to guard the gate and make sure they go to the token booth or to the kiosk and get their fare and then swipe. No, they would say, well, they said that they paid the token booth clerk, or their phone didn't work when they went to tap and all of this kind of stuff. So we just open it, and when we open up the gate, they just walk on in. We open up the gate for one person, and then the other people just walk on in. They had all those kind of excuses. So you had that issue, and now you got an issue of someone literally taking a customer's money. So here's the other thing. What idiot customer is doing this? What giving you my money? Who does this stuff? That gotta be your friends. That's the only thing I could think of. Shanti said it's somebody who stole a vest, or you ain't making the money. I say forget all of that. It's your friends. Because how did you get the word out? Don't go to the kiosk. Don't go to the token booth. Don't tap your phone. I got you. Just give me the $3. Nobody knows this but your people. That's who you got coming. If y'all come to, I got you. Just, stop by. And no.
But it's not like you're getting a discount. You actually paying 10 cents more. So they got to be giving him $2. Because what's the benefit in me giving you? Because I love the fact that they have phones, because I don't have to touch nothing. So now, if I gotta hand you $3, there's a chance your thumb might touch my thumb. So already I'm mad. But now, if the fare is $2.90, but I'm giving you 3 cents, you just came up. I'm $3. You just came up 10 cents. So I must be your friend, or little Shorty Tim from the block, Earl, Ray, somebody, because you coming up, not me. Because who's to say and a lot more of us don't carry cash the way we used to. Let alone singles.
Right.
So now I can't exchange for a $5, because that means more time in front of the camera. So wait, what's happening? I don't. He's been.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying. Didn't say what happens at the turnstile. There would just be too much talking. This is something he didn't put out the work. He didn't told Lil Ray. He didn't told his friends. He didn't told his family. Tell your people, when y'all get there, I'm there from 9 to 5, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. See me. Don't go to that. Don't go to that end. Come to the Suffolk Boulevard side. Come to the 125th and 8th Avenue side. Come to 100. No, this planet is in advance. It's just too much. It is just too much. I agree with all of you. Who's risking their job to do this stuff here? So wait. Let me get the comments. Wait, I'm like lost here. Okay, Terrence says he wanted to get a Bentley for $2-3. Terrence, that's a whole lot in exchange for a Bentley. Oh my goodness, I hope that wasn't the plan. Sir says lately some people have been getting MTA clothes and dressed like us, so he thought he can get away with it. Maybe that is the thing, Serge. Maybe it is. Terrence says, and plus he was doing this for a long time to get so stupid about it. Yeah, to be so careless in front of a camera. Not his friends. He was doing it for so long, he got cocky and they started watching him. All this conversation ain't taking place at the turnstile. I'm not believing it. I'm sorry. All right. Here is the videos of all videos. We've got Antoine, guy who has escaped from the New Orleans prison. He is the last one. They have caught everyone officially. He is the last one. Now, it's funny because I kept seeing these ads, these things on the news when I was doing my news the other day. They kept saying that they have not caught Antoine, despite the fact that they saw him. And I'm like, well, what did that mean? But I just wouldn't even look at it because I'm like, I'm gonna wait for the update and then I'll come back. Well, Vivian then showed it all. He is standing behind a camera, pleading his case. He wants Lil Wayne, Young Thug, President Trump, all these people to help him prove that he should have never been behind bars in the first place. It was this chick who lied on him and got him put in there. He did not escape. He was let out. He had a piece of paper. He is pleading his case that whatever's on his paper has freed him. He is not on the lam and he needs help. Shantice.
They give you discharge papers when you get out of prison.
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Get papers. Yeah, they have to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's given like
They give you discharge papers from the hospital, from prison. Yeah, you got dispo papers. Mm-hmm.
That's given like slave trade. That's what it looked like when he holds it up. Like I got the. That's what it looked like. Like Master done freed me. Like he got caught on the road to Damascus, and they said, "Hey, nigger, where you going?" And he said, "No, my master freed me." And they said, "Show me your discharge."
Show me your freedom papers.
That's what it looked like. Wait, Pastor Steph, stop. I can't laugh so hard, of course. Okay. Bruh. How? Okay, wait. He's saying the girl lied on him, and that's why he got locked up. So what are those papers from?
He's saying that those papers say, and I stop me if I'm wrong, Viv, but those papers say that he's been freed. He's out legally.
No.
I'm wrong. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
those papers, those were court papers, affidavits or whatever they call it, that proves that the girl who got said she took it back and said that it wasn't him, that she wasn't pressing charges anymore. So he was showing those court papers saying that he was in jail for no reason because she went back on her word and said it wasn't him who assaulted her.
Okay, thank you.
So you got locked up with the freedom papers. So what makes you think that the freedom papers are going to work now, that the slave master is still trying to find you when they didn't work before? The slave master is trying to find you. And what is Lil Wayne supposed to do? He can't even remember the lyrics to his own songs. So he didn't watch to pray for them when we prayed for Lil Wayne, right? Lil Wayne can't help with nothing. He can't even remember his own lyrics. Trump is choosing who he's pardoning. Listen, he's too busy pardoning celebrities. Who are you, bro? He ain't checking for you. There's no benefit in him pardoning you. Okay? This is just so silly. He would have a better chance, and I know, I've never been incarcerated. Just the thought of it makes me want to lock myself up. But you would have a better chance in just like going back. If this is really like I was wrongly convicted, then somehow them papers need to meet the judge and whoever your lawyer is that you're able to get, and go about it that way, because you're going to continue to be on the run. And how long do you think you're going to be making videos asking for celebrities to help you before they actually find you? How the celebrity supposed to get to you? So the celebrity's going to get to you before the cops? And you're a nobody. You're not another. You're not their peer. This isn't Diddy. He escaped and he like, yo, come on. I need my man Lil Wayne. I need my man Jay-Z. You're a normal person. Well, you're a fugitive with no records behind you. They ain't checking for you. The cops are gonna find you. Whose phone are you using? Was that the one who asked grandma for help? Is that grandma's phone?
I don't remember which of the inmates got grandma, but like I said, they said that almost every last one of them had family and friends helping them.
Right. So he probably using her phone. Let me show you how twisted people are. The one he claimed got him locked up, that's probably her phone he using. And he probably showed up over there. What you doing here? They argue. And he said, well, let me use your phone real quick to prove, because you know you lying. And she let him do it. And then she gonna be calling the cops on him again. That's how twisted people are. But yeah, no, that's that's crazy. I don't know how far he think he gonna get.
Pastor Kim, does he stand a chance going about it this way?
I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, first of all, if you have your evidence that you are innocent and you had no reason to even be locked up in the first place, why are you even running? I mean, make it make sense. I mean, you got to prove your girl then went and confessed that she lied on you or what have you, so why won't you just go and turn yourself in and say, hey, my girl didn't prove that I didn't do what they say that I did, and or go to the judge, go to the police, go to somebody. But it's no way that I would be, if I knew that I didn't do something and we are innocent until proven guilty, and that you're not guilty, you don't need nobody to represent you, so it just don't make sense to me. I'm confused.
Vivian. Yeah, you and everybody else, Pastor Kim. All right, Viv, what we talking about here?
Yeah, he's gonna wind up getting himself caught even faster, because he out here making videos. There's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna see something and recognize something, and that's how they're gonna find him. He gonna be his own reasoning for getting caught. And if you're truly innocent, then why leave? Talk about, I ain't break out of jail, I was let out of jail, and then gonna say I left. Sir, they have you on camera breaking out of jail. What are you talking about?
Running.
What are you talking about? If you were truly innocent, then you should have sat in there and waited until you were literally, really let out of jail, because you're innocent. But you want to go about it this way, and you're only making it worse for yourself. Nobody's going to be able to help you when you broke out of jail.
Right.
He has to go get the paper.
Here's my because my thing is, where'd you get this paper from? So there was, remember when I spoke about this the other day about the family and friends helping, one of the things that I said was, they said that there was one girl who had been in a domestic violence issue with one of the inmates, and she was working with the sister to help him get out, and they tapped the phone and heard the girl and the sister saying, well, they hope he gets out and stays out. This is probably the one.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out. And remember I said, as a victim, you all twisted up here. And I'm like, why would you be in jail and then you were able to go to jail for what you did for me? Because remember, at one point he was already locked for her. That this has been an ongoing thing. So it's probably her who he's got these papers, and she said, hey, this is no longer true. Here's the problem. Let's go back a little bit. And I think I mentioned this last week when we were on the phone with the guys. When we were on here with the guys. Long gone the days when it comes to domestic violence that you can go and withdraw a claim. They don't allow you to do that no more, because that's what was happening. So now the state or the feds pick it up. If they catch you in the street fighting and they see her swing and smack him, They're arresting her. They're not going to arrest him if they didn't see him hit her. Now, if she says, well, he hit me first, then they'll arrest both of them and then they'll do the investigation. But it doesn't matter. They are not allowing any longer for her to go make a claim, and then she goes back to the precinct and says, okay, I withdraw, and they let him out. That's done. That's been done for years. So if this is the case, and he's been in jail because she said he did something, and he's got papers. First of all, how you get these papers? Did you have to break out of jail to get the papers that declare you're innocent? Or she withdrew? Where did you get this document from? If they mailed it to you, why would they mail it to you? Why not mail it to your attorney? Why not give it to somebody who's representing you? So that all of this stuff does not make sense. I didn't break out. They let me out. Well, why would you be let out with the other 9 people who were running? If you were let out legitimately. Well, why are you running? They showed all of them running. The video showed every last one of them running. So if I were let out, why would I be running? Why would I be let out with my orange and grays on? When they let you out of jail, you get out with regular clothing. They don't let you out with the prison clothes. So you sound like a real idiot. You, again, another idiot here. Here you got, I'm calling Young Thug and Lil Wayne. And why would these people want to help you? They're not your personal friends. So why would they want to help you? I agree with all of you. This is if you're innocent, this is not the way to get it done. You want to make sure you stick out the process, because here's the thing. You did something. They have declared you guilty. You did something. It wasn't just on her word. There was some marks, some photos, something. So you in there on some proof that you were guilty. So they're not just going to let you out from a piece of paper that says, I don't know. I take back my word. He ain't do it. They're not going through all of that. You know what? Remember now, they're about making these people pay for wasting the sheriff's time, the court's time. You ain't got no money for all of that. You ain't about that life. So stop. You're not gonna get no justice by standing behind a camera. Like Vivian said, you're gonna get caught even faster. You are not gonna remain free much longer. So just go ahead, turn yourself in, let due process take its normal course and go. But this here, you stand there. Not only that, again, I say, like I said the other day, whoever's phone he's using, you're going to be locked up right next to him, because they are snatching up everybody who has aided these people. So the sister, the friend, the girlfriend, the auntie, the uncle, next door neighbor, the man at the bodega store, whoever this is that has helped you stay out all this time, you going down. And I'm not going down for anybody. That is purely out. Viv, are we going to lose you soon?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what's your closing remarks?
Just thank God for technology. All this that we will be missing out on because people just getting away with it because of lack of technology. So thank you, God, for technology. Hopefully, this Massey individual, Antoine, hopefully, he'll get caught. I know it sounds wrong, but you're gonna have to go back. Hopefully he'll get caught. And if he is innocent, the right processes. He was saying in the video, I couldn't play too much of the video because he was in front of the camera for 10 whole minutes pleading his case. So if you find the
Wow.
video, if you find the video, go back and watch it. He was saying that
Wow.
they were doing him injustice. He couldn't get a lawyer and this, that, and the third. So if he truly is innocent and if there is some type of injustice going on, hopefully he'll get justice. He'll be able to be free if he is innocent. But hopefully that'll all be over soon. But it really was a very interesting video to watch. But yeah, that's it.
Wow. All righty. Well, you're not wrong to say you hope he get caught, because if he's guilty, you hope he gets caught. You in jail. You broke out of jail. But thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good day, ladies.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we got some comments before we move on. Okay. We got someone who says, and those tattoos on his face, you don't think you're going to get caught? Do you know, I said the same thing to myself when I was looking. I was like, you got identifiable marks right in the front of your face, on the forehead, and on the side of the cheeks. Where you hiding? But I said this before. Those who break out of jail, you stupid. How do you think you're going to be out here in the limelight and nobody? Wait, Shantice, we're not done?
No, that wasn't. I'm sorry.
Okay. You know, how long you think you're going to remain out here when they plaster your face all over the place? There's the guy, I think, from Arkansas, who's the ex-police chief. He's still out there. And I'm saying, well, they keep putting your face all over the wanted signs. How long you think nobody's going to be able to detect who you are? I said the same thing about the marks in his face. Terrence says, escape allegedly. AJ says his baby mama sent those people to get him fired because he wasn't paying that child support. Why risk a high-paying job, and now you're going to use that money to get to the unemployment office? Terrence says you never know. The system's all messed up. He could be telling the truth. He's on a Boost Mobile. They can't track him. Pastor Kim and Shantice, I want to go with this comment that Terrence made. You never know that, you know, whether this is the truth or not. He could be telling the truth. Pastor Kim, how do you respond to that?
That's true. You know, we really don't know. You know, it could be some truth in it. But again, you know, a person is innocent until proven guilty, you know, and when all of the evidence comes forth, if he is in the wrong, then he's going to end up right back in prison. But if not, you know, and he has his proper evidence to prove himself. But again, it's not what we do, it's how we do it. You know, he didn't have to break out to prove his innocence. He should have just, you know, he should have went about it a different way, because now you're on the run, and you know, and you didn't have to be.
Right. Shantice, how do you respond to, hey, you know, this all could be true. He could be telling the truth.
He could be telling the truth. Unfortunately, as Pastor Kim just said, and everyone's been saying, you still have to present yourself in a certain way. And like I said, I understand, you know, if I'm locked up, especially if I don't belong there, and I see a window I could slither out of, I'd be lying if I said I probably won't follow the other ants out the window. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what it is to be on the other side of there being a door attached to the toilet that I'm using. So I can't say that I wouldn't have, you know, tried to shoot my shot. However, to now go to the extent of making videos and all that, it's like, listen, see, if you get locked up and all that, then that your escape needs to be a plan you make from the second you walk up in there, because this obviously shows there was no plan. There was no type of plan, because you're still leaving so many traces. He's the one, they're going to end up seeing that checkers that the employee shot the guy over the mayonnaise with in his background, because he's going to have to run up in there to get something to eat. It's just like, it's too much. because you're not thinking and you're just so busy trying to prove your innocence, you're being sloppy. So unfortunately, you're still gonna have to do things the proper way, because as it's been said, now when they catch you, they're not gonna try to hear anything you have to say, because now they're gonna be upset that they had to even deal with the fact of them having to send the bounties or the marshals or whomever to go out there to find you and bring you back. Who you think gonna be looking at them papers, them freedom papers at that point? Anybody gonna try to look at that? Nobody's gonna care about that, because now you've committed a crime that they can legitimately charge you for. So you're saying you're in there for something that was illegitimate, you didn't do, but now they have something that they can actually charge you with. So if that same girl allowed you to use her phone, I'm pretty sure she would have made a trip up there to bring you them freedom papers to show that you were wrongfully accused and incarcerated. But now you just made a whole new headline for yourself. It's just like, and your appearance doesn't help, unfortunately. You look like a fugitive.
Pastor Kim, you have not been on with us to answer the question about the family and friends who have been aiding these fugitives. So initially, they started off with saying that the janitor, when Vivian first brought us this story a couple of weeks ago, they started off with the janitor who turned the water off, and so they could pull the toilet out and get through the hole that was in the wall. He claims that he was forced and threatened to do so. He did it under duress. Then they said that there were other insiders, employees, who helped them to escape. Well, you know, it wouldn't have to be just the janitor, because they didn't go from the wall and the hole in the wall to the street. There had to be others who aided them from the inside. The story then grew that we talked about was that grandma got some cash app on her phone and sent one of the inmates money. Then the story grew to every one of them had family and friends not only aid them when they had escaped, but had actually helped them plan from the inside before they even escaped. So you had one of the allegations was one of the inmates approached someone that he knew on the outside and asked for help, and the person told him no, and he threatened to kill the person because they would not help. So they had been getting assistance and planning this before they even broke out. They had one of the inmates whose people said, well, you know, when you come out, I'm painting this vacant house and you can hide out at this house until I finish, you know, painting, and I gotta leave up out of here and it's no longer vacant. You know, what say you about this aiding people who's innocent? Let's say this Antoine guy is innocent. Would you aid him in getting out because you believe he's innocent?
I don't know if I would want to get involved in that. You know, I would probably try to lead him to someone else that could help, but I don't think that I wouldn't want to be involved. I wouldn't want to be a part of it because, you know, you get yourself caught up in things that sometimes you can't get out of, you know, and even though a person might be, they might be innocent, and not to say that they're not, or to say that they're not a good person or what have you. It's just some things you have to pick and choose your battles. Some things it's not so much that it might be wrong, it just might not be expedient for you to get yourself involved in it.
Okay. Ladies, I got a question. One of the things that came up in the comments is, excuse me, well, Pastor Kim, that's generally the consensus over here on His Due Time. Everybody said, no, don't count me in. I'm not getting involved in aiding you at that level. You know, maybe getting you a lawyer, but nah, I'm not helping you. I'm not getting involved and now putting myself and my freedom at risk. So you actually said what everybody else said. There's a comment about, well, this could simply be for child support. And, she had him locked up for child support. What say you about even arresting men or women? Because there's some women, who default on child support. Should it go as far as arrest? They have taken driver's licenses. They have taken passports. I know men who could not drive because they had suspended licenses. I know a guy who had a suspended passport. They take everything. Do you think that's injustice and they have gone too far? Or do you think, you know what? You didn't pay your child support. You didn't do your due diligence. So you need to be locked up. Shantice, I'll take you first.
That's a bit much. I too know I had to drive one of my friends a few times to court because they took his license because he wasn't paying child support. But he was taking care of his child. She wanted more. He refused to pay more. So that then caused this whole tizzy. And he said, I'm not paying nothing. So they took his license. I don't think he had a passport, but they definitely took his license. So now to get to where you're not going to have him locked up, when 90% of the time they go up on the, they get it initially or go up on the child support because they're bitter. Not because the child really wants more, but because that's their way of getting back at the man. So again, we going back to people that want to do their jobs. If the men, because this is one man who has everything itemized. Like you say, before you can finish saying, show me how you've supported this child, he already got receipts, he got videos, he got pictures, he got conversations, he got text messages, he got all of that. There's already been proof that this child has been provided for by this parent, but she's been pursuing this even more. Why isn't something going on with her? Why aren't most of these women locked up for misusing the child support funds? I know of another father who was paying child support for kids to go to school they weren't even going to anymore. And I was like, well, when are you gonna go back to the courts and tell Mr. Judge, sir, they no longer go there. Why am I still paying part of this tuition? But because most men are lazy, they don't say nothing, they just pay. And then she was still trying to get more. So it's just like, a lot of these women need to get locked up just because of their intentions. But I think that's just a bit much. It just goes way too far. No, you should not. Even if you're not, listen, they're already locked up if their check is getting garnished. Okay, that's already a form of imprisonment. They ain't making no money. Most of them MTA workers don't make money because they make money, but by the time their checks get garnished, there's nothing. Most of them, I know people who used to work at MTA, and they're like, most of them are working to pay child support. It's sad. One of the men I knew, he had to hide the fact that he worked for MTA when he first got the job. When he would go around the kids and the mother, he wouldn't wear uniform. And I'm like, this is just way too much pressure in life. Like, what? You can't wear the uniform because God forbid she find out, now she's going to go back to the courts and demand more money. It's just too much. So no, it just gets way, if the man really needs to pay because he has not been taking care of the child prior to the woman pursuing the funds, they just get the checks garnished. If they're not paying it, they're not going to be able to live a peaceful life anyway. But you don't have to get them locked up for that. That's just a bit much.
Okay. Pastor Kim, what say you? Do you think that revoking driver's license and passport is and possibly jail is too much for lack of child support payment? Or do you think, you know what? Hey, you didn't support your kid. Do what you need to do.
I agree too. I think that's a little extreme because when you think about child support, I think that the child support funds should be to help support the children. And I think a lot of times, because I personally know someone that has to pay child support that is a good father, Sometimes I think the amount that they are making some of these individuals pay is a little extreme. You know, we're living in some hard times, and people are just trying to live. They're trying to make it. And like Shantice was saying, some of these dads are good fathers that are, dedicating um, and keeping their commitment to spend time with their children. If they're locked up and don't have a driver's license to be able to make it to a job, how are they going to be able to do what they need to do? I think that there's other avenues and other ways that they could go about making sure that they are getting the allotted amount of money that they're supposed to pay for child support, but to take their driver's license, to lock them up, and to do these type of things, I just think that's kind of harsh.
All righty. I'll weigh in now and I'll save the other question for my closing. I think it needs to be on a case by case basis. I remember, and I may have told the story before. I remember being when I used to do payroll, and there was a guy who, when I tell you, the payments were through the roof for 2 children. And when we get the garnishment, we can actually call back and say, this is too much. It's hit them at the poverty level, because you can't drop them but so low. So I kind of sent the message because they kept sending increases. And I'm like, but he's not getting increases. He's not getting increases on the job. Where are you getting these dollars from? So there was a woman from the Child Enforcement Department who called and said, I'm calling for Joe Brown. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, I was very familiar with it. And I was like, yeah, I said, over $1,000 a paycheck. I said, did y'all see the information that I sent regarding his income? And she was like, yeah. And she was on the other side of the fence. And so was he. And she said, yeah. And I was like, oh. And I said, well, how did you arrive at over $1,000 a paycheck? They doesn't make that much money. I said, because they give you a breakdown, a chart that we show where you are at the end of the garnishment, at the end of your check. So I said, but did you get the calculation? She said, yeah. And I just couldn't understand this dismissive tone. And I said, okay, listen. I said, I can't take no more out of his check. I said, that's it. I said, I can't leave him. I can't leave him, but with so much money. I said, I ain't got nothing to do with the personal thing, but I'm doing my job. I'm informing you. She said to me, well, listen, I don't care where you get it from. She said, if you can't send it, we're going after him anyway. You sound sympathetic, but we're going after him anyway, because he made the kids. He going to pay for these kids. And I was like, wow. If the courts give us the ability, why would the courts give us that ability to explain to you? And we're not lying, because we have to show it. I got to send papers. Years ago, I don't know how many of you know, but years ago, you could actually call your payroll department and say, listen, hold off on that garnishment. It's illegal to do that. We can't hold off on the garnishment as soon as we get it. And then sometimes as soon as the person hits the payroll, here's what they do. Because we're using certain check reporting agencies and check people, once we put your social security in, it shoots to it's a master department for child support nationwide. And as soon as that next paycheck, I'm already garnishing your paycheck. They're not playing. But I couldn't believe just the dismissive. I was like, yo, what is he going to live off of? She was like, that's what I asked. I said, what's he going to live off? I don't care. He made the kids. He's going to pay. And I was like, Dad. I believe it needs to be case by case basis. There are some men out here that are doing everything they can. They are paying all the money. They are in this constant battle with the women who want more money. The money is not justified being paid. They're not seeing it. They should be able to make the claim. They should be able to go to court. They should be able to hash this out properly. There are other men who are just lowlifes. They are not paying. They don't care what happens. They're ducking and dodging. and they don't have a legitimate fight with the woman, to even warrant this. So in that case, I say, do what you need to do. There are some men who make their livelihood with their driver's license. How that's like defeats the purpose, like you ladies have said. How you gonna make your money if that's where you hitting me? Then you should not be allowed to drive after whatever your work hours are or whatever your driving hours are. Then limit that, but you ain't gonna get no pleasure out of this. But I ultimately believe it needs to be case by case. It just can't be this blanket thing, because it's like everything else. If everybody pays for the ne'er-do-wells when everyone is not a ne'er-do-well. And there were some people who are just simply insensitive. If I'm telling you as the payroll person, there's nothing left for me to send you after I take out his statutory deductions, after I take out his medical and dental, and she was like, does he get 401k? Because that's voluntary. I wouldn't even answer that. I'm not liable to answer that question. I've taken out all his statutory deductions. He cannot afford to pay anything else. And if you're going to start canceling people's passports and driver's license because you're just simply insensitive, and what it sounded to me like, you were just mad because maybe it happened to you. And sometimes judges and lawyers and things like that, that's what they do. It's a personal thing to them. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure he paid because the last time I had to go to court. We can't live like that. So my thing is, make it a case by case basis. Do your proper investigating. If it's proven that this person is a ne'er-do-well, woman or man, because I've garnished some women's paychecks, then do what you need to do. But other than that, it just can't be this blanket thing where you just take everybody's driver's license and passport. It is extreme for some people. And it just, sometimes these women are just ridiculous, and you can't make them pay because that's who and what she is. So, we need to examine it closer and get to the root of it before we start swiping people's, credentials. Ladies, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your contribution to today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day. Pastor Kim, it was great to have you back, and we sure hope and pray you can join us more often. Have a blessed one.
You too. Thank you all.
Thank you. I don't know if I said a good morning to Majesty. Maybe I did. There's a whole lot of talking going on. But hey, Majesty, just in case I didn't say it, Terrence says, I would mind my business. I'm not a daggone detective. And he's talking about if, you would get involved with helping someone to escape or get out of jail free. So the question came across. What was the question? What was the question? I think it was Terrence's question where he said, what was Terrence's question? I got to look at Terrence's question. Forgive me. Maybe the person was telling the truth. Maybe this Antoine is actually being honest, and the girl did lie, and now she's retracting her statement, and he should be out. Well, definitely, I could tell. I know women who have done stuff like that, and I'm like, you live like that? See, God is just too big for me. Y'all trifle with God way too much for me. I ain't playing them kind of games. If they did it, they did it. If they didn't, they did. I'm not going to be accusing people of things that they didn't do. So, Terrence, you're absolutely right. There is a possibility that he could be telling the truth. How many people have been released from jail 20 and 30 years later who said that they didn't do it? How many times, that and it was found out later that they were innocent and sat in there for 20, 30 years. So I'm going to talk about two sides of this coin. One side is, yes, you need to, as the ladies have said, now you are guilty. My grandmother used to say, no matter what happens, make sure you're right. You don't ever want to put yourself in a position where you are now wrong for doing the right thing. And people seem to live this life so easily. They do the wrong things for the right reasons, and then they do the right things for the wrong reasons. this is why you need the Lord, because there's a certain discernment. And people say, oh, here you go back to God. Yes, because a lot of times our judgment is off. Our judgment is off with how do we handle being innocent and we're being charged with being guilty. And now I'm paying the price for a guilty person, but I'm going to escape from jail because I'm innocent and I got this piece of paper in my hand. No, we don't do things like that, because now you have escaped from prison, and that's illegal, like Shantice and Pastor Kim said. So now you have to go to jail. Either way, when they catch you, or if you turn yourself in, you are now going to jail. I don't care if it's 6 months. You now are, all these guys who have been caught are now going back to court for escaping from prison. So now you got to do time anyway. I'm not going to add time to prove I'm right. So there is a way to get things done. And if that means you got to sit a little longer, then maybe you need to sit a little longer, because it just doesn't pay to do it the other way. I'm going to go on a spiritual side with this as well. Sometimes God moves to save us. Now, I might be making a assumption. I'm looking at all the marks in your face. Now, some might say that may just be what he wants. However, we do know that most times those marks in the face mean something, indicates something. Most times you're in a gang or whatever situation is, you're not on the right side of the fence, and this is your lifestyle. So let's just say this is what it is. I don't know him. He could just maybe like the tattoo up his face. I don't know. Maybe he wants some attention. I don't know. But let's say, for argument's sake, that he was and has been on the wrong side of the law. God has not been known for, it has not been odd for God to do things on our behalf. And there is a possibility that maybe you ended up behind bars to save you. Now, I'm going to put that for the rest of us. How many times has God said no to save us? We don't see it like that, but God has made a move on our behalf to save our lives. And there could be a possibility that Mr. Antoine could be sitting up in jail. He was innocent. But in order for God to save his life, maybe he removed him from the life he was living to reach him in a sitting position, in a stationary position. Now, we do know that they can get into a whole lot of stuff in jail. However, there have been many who have actually gone to jail and have taken that time to rethink their life and make better decisions. So if God gave that opportunity, then now you have broken out of jail, and now you have stepped out of alignment with God. And that's just the other side that I'm presenting as a possibility. And the reason why I say this, because this goes for all of us. Has God said no to us to prevent some other things from actually happening? But because we are so determined to do this thing that we are just going to make a way to get it done, regardless of what it's going to cost for us to get it done. And then we step out of alignment with God and end up in trouble. Well, voila. If that's the case, what has happened now? Instead of you doing your 2 years, where God was kind of setting you on the side and keeping you in a state of helping you, you now break out of jail, and now you make yourself guilty, and now you got to do time. Where had you just done what God needed you to do, just sit still for 5 minutes, when you walked out, you would have walked out victorious. Did you have to stay in jail? But sometimes God rescues us from stuff that we will never see. We will never, ever see some of the things that God will do to rescue. Sometimes we'll never know we should have been hit by that car, but we weren't there at the time. And look at all the people who can attest to why they were not at the Twin Towers when they came down. Somebody missed the elevator. Somebody missed the train. Somebody broke their heel. Someone got stuck in an elevator. Somebody, stayed back because the kid got sick for 5 extra minutes. And that kept them from being in that building. So we have to consider these things. And when we don't consider these things, sometimes we walk into something that ends up messing us up. So going back to your question, could he be innocent? Absolutely. But let's just make sure that even when we're innocent, we make sure we always do the right thing. There was a comment about our subway agent who was swiping the card. It says about the subway issue, we have to remember there are a lot of visitors, foreign visitors who don't know our communal system here. Also, if he gets 20 people per hour on his 8-hour shift, he could make an additional amount of money. Capitalize, stupid. Well, I agree. I do agree that, there's a lot of foreigners who come through this subway system and, on an accumulative basis, he could be swiping a whole lot of people on that shift and make a couple of dollars. And maybe ultimately in another 15 years of doing this, he could get that Bentley, Terrence. So yes, that is something to think about. Let's think about all of this stuff, all of these things that Vivian brought to us today, the mayonnaise killing. Let's think about, just take 5 minutes. The Bible tells us to be slow to anger, swift to hear. Make sure we slow down on being angry and moving out of alignment with him so that we don't make the wrong moves. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit as you go through your day. Be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you for keeping that chat room alive and helping us do what we do. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us, and you don't want to step out of alignment with the Lord. Until tomorrow, God spares. Oh, our girl Athena, our health nutritionist, will be with us, God spares. So we're looking forward to getting on with our pen and paper and taking all those great notes. Until then, I love you.